All right, so what are we talking about? Right, just throw me one. Throw me a good one. I think we've done a really good job, like city planning wise, right? We've got a lot of really great industry. We got really good access to, the Great Lakes. Obviously, there's huge benefits there. So I think anybody moving to West Michigan, we still have relatively good affordability. Our city planning, I think, has done a really good job where you can still get in and around the city very efficiently. I think just West Michigan as a whole, right, has a really good culture to it. Actually, I have a client currently moving from LA to Grand Rapids, and it's funny to see the things that, with some of our, maybe our local people, right, is like more of a big deal versus her expectations are just different, right? It's not good or bad. It's just her expectations are different because she's coming from a market where a 3-bedroom home is like $1 million to here, boom, it's, it's 400,000 or 300,000. Even just the expectation for, I'll say garage size or the size of the yard, those things isn't as big of an issue as maybe the location or something else. So it is interesting to see just expectations are different. I know I've seen a lot of people move out of Grand Rapids. They move to places like Traverse City because now they're fully remote and they're like, hey, we've got family that's up near, Petoskey or Gaylord. And now that both of us are fully remote, we're going to move up there because the affordability from Grand Rapids to up in that area is better. But yeah, no, we've seen a lot of people. I think last year we were like 5 or 6 different clients that had all come from larger markets or bigger cities to Grand Rapids. Yeah, so typically when somebody's moving from one of those other markets, they already know something about West Michigan, right? If they're specifically end up in Grand Rapids, because they've got family or they've been here before. Most people, I think when you're talking like, Nashville's exploding, some of those other cities a little further south than us are really exploding right now. And I think you've got more people that are moving maybe from the West Coast or East Coast to those cities without having family or somebody actually there, but it's better weather. I think if you end up in Grand Rapids, it's driven mostly by you've got family or relatives that are already here. There's so much to do. Whether you want to talk about the Great Lakes or kayaking, you're never more than, I think it's like 3 miles from a body of water in the state of Michigan. So there's, we've got amazing hiking, if anything you want to do outside, right? Downhill skiing in the wintertime, snowmobiling, fishing, hunting. There's so much to do in Michigan and nobody really talks about it. But honestly, like, there's just so much to offer in that aspect with Michigan that you just don't get, I feel like, in other places. One of my favorite things to do, especially in the summertime, I say, hey, if you can, go either rent bikes or get an electric scooter or something and just bomb around downtown Grand Rapids because there's so much you can do. So my sister obviously grew up in West Michigan, right? Moved away when she turned 18, lived in Italy for 5 years, and then she came back. She came back actually for my wedding, and she was here for 2 weeks, and she was like, okay, what do you want to do? And she was kind of, I'll say kind of dogging, nothing to do. And I was like, hey, let's jump on some bikes. And we jumped on bikes, and we bombed around for literally half a day, hitting breweries, going to some great restaurants, picking up some trails, riding all the way out to Millennium Park and back. And we did all these fun things, right? And she was like, oh my gosh, I never knew that we could do the fish ladder, all of those things that we just cruised around on all the bike lanes and the bike trails. And it totally changed, I think it totally changed her perspective of what you could do in Grand Rapids. And honestly, again, going back to city planning, we're doing some really cool things right now where, they're building a big amphitheater and on the river, and they're doing some really cool things. I think, especially over the next 10 years, Grand Rapids is really going to kind of level up its game, and it's going to be a really cool place to be. What are we talking about? You what? Oh, jeez.